3 years ago, I was discussing with my parents how I was already mature enough to go on a holiday with a friend of mine for an entire week. And in order to get to his place, I had to go on a 3-hour bus ride alone. Obviously, my parents were worried about me not being mature enough to make the trip and spend an entire week with my friend. They tell me, "You're still too young, you don't have the life experience." I obviously acted as if I was the most mature person on the face of the earth, and somehow I was allowed to go. Sure as shit, as soon as I got to the destination, I had proved them right. I was so worried about getting off at the right station that I ended up forgetting all of my luggage on the bus. Now, that was due to one reason and one reason only: lack of experience. I thought that this was my level of maturity, when in reality, my actual level of maturity was like here. And this was the level I ended up after making the mistake. My parents were right, but it begs the question: how are you supposed to gain life experience to become more mature if you don't go on experiences because you are too immature? In this case, the error was harmless, cause I was able to retrieve all of my belongings. Still though, for a good couple of hours, I was seriously scared, and I learned my lesson. You bet I've always remembered my luggage from that point on. So you probably agree with me when I say that, in this case, my generation, Gen Z, is way more immature than the generation of our parents. Social media and the internet had a huge impact on this, because our generation spends way more time inside of the house, in front of screens, instead of outside, which is then reflected on less life experience. For example, if you spend an afternoon playing video games with your friends, or you spend an afternoon with the same friends but you go outside riding your bikes, in which occasion do you think you will gain more life experience? It's the latter. Something unpredictable always happens. You meet new people, or perhaps one of your friends gets a flat tire. You're away from home, you have no idea how to fix the tire. What do? You gotta improvise. You may then go to a nearby cafe and ask for the help of an old man. Now, you've just learned how to fix a flat tire, and you created a memory. That's life. If you're going to put yourself outside of your comfort zone, odds are you will learn something new. And there are certain activities that you can indulge in that will make you more mature. Reading was a big one for me. Even though I'm an advocate that real life experience will always beat the theory in a book, I still think books are an amazing source of knowledge. I mean, think about it. You can literally buy a book for $15 that contains the top 5 lessons someone has picked up during their life. In 10 to 15 hours of reading, you gain the knowledge that took someone 50 plus years to gather. The only drawback I found with books is that a lot of them out there are repetitive. If you read for the first time a book on human psychology, 99% of the information in the book will be new to you. But if you buy a second book on human psychology, perhaps 80% of the content is the same as the previous one, and 20% of the information will be new, etc. You get the point. So, at a beginner stage, reading is amazing, because you will absorb a lot of information in a short amount of time. Therefore, you will mature quite quickly. But as I said, theory can only take you so far. Another thing that I must admit I disregarded up until recently was that debating with other people helps you mature quite quickly. Because when you do this, you are actually thinking about a certain topic, which is surprisingly rare nowadays, given that most of the time we just consume, and thinking goes out of the window. And crucially, when you debate with another person, you are also paying attention to what they are saying, and you're understanding their point of view. If you are to focus on only one of these points, I believe this is the most important one. During a conversation, genuinely listen to what the other person is saying, instead of merely waiting for your turn to speak and unloading all of the thoughts you had while they were talking. It's a two-way street, not a highway. This has nothing to do with becoming an old soul that can't have fun. Quite the opposite. It's about living life at its fullest intensity, collecting experiences. Late maturity can result in prolonged dependency on others. Whether emotional or financial support, it is stressful for both the individual and their support system. Those who mature later also find it more challenging to manage emotions and stress effectively. So yeah, hopefully by this point you are convinced that having a mental age that matches or even surpasses your chronological age is important for your development and your happiness. Before I say goodbye, I just wanted to leave you guys with this one message. I've come to realize that the best feeling in the world is by far to continuously take your life to the next level and reach new heights. Just think about the fact that you can completely change yourself in the span of a year. Not a little bit better, not the same, a completely different person for the better. Like, that's just crazy to think about. And we all have those lazy days where we don't feel like working, or we don't feel like doing anything. But when you truly show up every day and you start to see the results of the work that you've been putting in, I truly believe it's the best feeling in the world. I hope I've made you smile at least once. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.